Good morning, my name is Bobby. I'm a hay farmer in Nevada. This morning we are going to be doing some land leveling, and we are back in the Magnum Case IH Magnum 235, and we are pulling a 16-foot Porter's Welding drag scraper. Not sponsored by anybody. We have had this scraper for 9 years, and it is set up for GPS leveling. So right over here, I'll show you guys the base station real quick. Got a base station set up right here. And that is running on just on my pickup's battery. So what that base station does is it provides correction about every 2 minutes. No, sorry, every 2 seconds. It sends a correction to an antenna that's up on top of the cab of this tractor that then takes the signal from that globe and the correction signal from the base station, and it keeps you on grade. So these GPS leveling systems, they call them sub-inch accurate, and I believe that's sub-inch accuracy on repeatability. If you actually set up your base station at a fixed position and you came back, you know, a year later and re-leveled a field, your scraper would be within an inch of where it was a year ago. But they're much more accurate than that. They're accurate down to like probably, I would say somewhere around a half a tenth. I would guess half a tenth of a foot. So that we use that because we flood irrigate, and I've talked about that before. And the flood irrigation requires the right slope and a very flat field, side to side. They're not flat up and down, but they're flat side to side, and that allows the water to spread evenly across the field. And so we accomplish that with the GPS leveling. There's also laser leveling systems. We have GPS, we just bought that because we wanted to have auto steer as well. So my dad's right there, he's running a Parma roller harrow, and what that does is it goes back and it just smooths up and compacts the field to take out any lines that may have got left behind from the scraper. Because we're going to be planting teff, we want a really firm, level, smooth seed bed, and I don't want to be going through bumps as I plant. So what that Parma does is it runs up and down the field, and if there are bumps, they're now running up and down as opposed to across the field. So this little piece here, I'm just going to give a brief overview, but I'm not actually going to use my automatics on this because there's so many trees that by the time I get my scraper out from under the tree enough to turn on the automatics, I'm turning them back off again. So this field's been leveled several times with the automatics on. This is a rotation crop, so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna float it. I'll run up and down, and then I will float it side to side. So that's all I'm gonna do. And our goal is to just have about half a scraper full of dirt, maybe a little under, because all we want to do is fill in the low spots and cut any high spots. So we're just going to adjust that down until we hit that half full, so to speak. And we'll try not to mess with it too much. Once we've got it set, we're just going to drive and we're just going to let the scraper do its thing. So, and it's going to vary how full it is depending on soil type and trash and how many times I've gone over a spot. So that's why I'm not going to mess with it too much, because I may get full and then I may turn around and be empty, you know, 2 minutes later. So I don't want to mess with it too much if I can help it. Right now it's about right. I can honestly just tell based on how the tractor's pulling it. I have literally hundreds of acres, thousands maybe even of acres, leveling and using this equipment, so I'm very familiar with how it works. I know how it feels, I know what it should feel like. And so yeah, that's a little overview. I will throw you guys outside on the mount and see if we can get some cool shots, and hopefully the camera doesn't overheat too quickly. It's pretty early in the morning still, so I'm hoping it's okay. So I'm gonna hop out, throw you guys on the camera, and we'll just set up a little time lapse or something on that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that time lapse. I hope you got a sense of what we're doing here. I've moved on now to the next field, and so I went ahead and floated it up and down, and I just did that by hand. This field's pretty it's sandier and it's just pretty variable, and so I didn't use my automatics to float it up and down. It's got a lot of trees and things like that, so I went ahead and floated it up and down by hand, and then now I'm using my automatics. So that's what this is. So the GPS is controlling the scraper. So, and then I'll just make adjustments as I go along. So right now it's taking a little bit too heavy of a cut. And so I'll just adjust up a bit. And then we'll see, we'll make a couple laps and see if we get rid of that extra dirt. When this field was initially leveled by someone else, they kind of a little trick you can do, I guess, to spread your water is you make the first, 50 or 100 feet of your field without slope. And so it kind of fills up like a bathtub, and then you start your slope. With these GPS systems, they're so dead accurate that you don't need to do that. And that's what's going on in this field. And so basically what happens is I have to play with my height offset as I'm working my way down the field until I get out of that first few 100 feet, because they basically pulled dirt down the field in order to create almost like a small dam. And you can't see it, it's imperceptible, but that's what they did. So I'll just adjust my height offset as I circle. Once I get to where there's established slope, then I won't have to mess with it so much. But right now I'm just trying to basically get rid of dirt, get down the field. So all I'm doing is I'm going around and around. It is very boring. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just gonna keep circling it out till I can get rid of all this excess dirt. And once I pick up a good slope where I know I have a set matched slope to what my scraper is doing, then I won't be cutting so hard. So right now what's happening is I cut on my rough pass and I dump on my smooth pass, and I'll try and show you. So I've got it adjusted a little bit better now, but basically what's happening is as I come across the bottom, my scraper's filling up, and then as I start pulling up the field, my scraper will start to unload. I hope it'll show you that. So it's not super visual right there, but I can feel it in the tractor. But I am gonna raise up a couple more hundredths, because we're carrying too much dirt with us. But the key is that you want to carry enough that you never empty the scraper. If you empty the scraper, you got to go over the same spot again. So that's kind of a brief overview of what we're doing. We do this so our water is efficient and fast and even. We don't want big holes that are going to take on a foot of water and other spots that are going to get an inch of water. We want an even distribution of irrigation water across the whole field. And so that's why we're doing this. I could drone on and on for hours about the little nuances and whatnot, but the basic gist is that we are making it flat, side to side, and making a consistent slope down the field in order to have a more efficient irrigation. So that's what we do. Please like, subscribe, comment, share the video. I love to see the comments. I try to respond to all of them. Give me some suggestions for future videos. I'm happy to show anything and everything we do on our farm. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.